Does your mind feel louder at night, like anxiety pulls up a chair beside your bed? You try to pray, but the silence feels sharp. The same worries circle like vultures. The same what-ifs echo in your chest. Your soul paces, restless and afraid. But what if you're not meant to resist this pressure tonight? What if the panic that visits isn't a curse to escape, but an invitation to encounter God more deeply? Psalm 91:5 says, "Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night." That is not a demand, it's a promise, a holy assurance that even in your most fragile hour, God stands guard. He does not wait for your breath to settle before He draws near. He enters the room before your tears dry. His message tonight is not be perfect, it is come to me. Come just as you are, unfiltered, unsettled, undone. Your anxiety doesn't disqualify you from His peace. It opens your soul to receive it. It breaks the illusion that you must carry it all alone. Let that truth anchor you. You are not alone in this night. God is with you, not just watching, but actively moving, setting a table of peace right in the presence of your fear. And that table is not bare. It is richly spread with what your soul needs most: the bread of stillness, the wine of assurance, the nourishment of grace. The weight you feel tonight isn't a sign to flee. It's a sacred signal to remain. The very place where your anxiety peaks may be the very place God is waiting to meet you. As Pope Leo Castor once reflected, peace is not escape, it is encounter. You do not need to silence the storm to sense the Savior within it. You don't need to be calm to be carried. Even in your wrestling, you are welcome. You don't earn stillness, you enter it. Let your next breath be slower, not because fear has vanished, but because God is here, present, faithful, nearer than your fear. You don't have to fix the chaos to receive the calm. You only need to be here, just as you are, and let His peace wrap around you like a warm blanket in the cold night. If your thoughts crash like waves, louder with every second, it's okay to let them come. You are not failing at faith because you feel afraid. You are not weak because your chest tightens or your tears come quickly. Faith is not the absence of fear. It is the courage to remain present with God inside it. A whispered, "God, I'm here, even if I don't know what to do next," is a sacred act of worship. That quiet honesty is holy ground. When you open your hands, even trembling, God fills them, not with control, but with companionship, not with answers, but with Himself. And He is enough, more than enough. You do not need to muster strength. You only need to rest in His. Let your anxiety be the doorway, not the barrier. Let it guide you deeper into the comfort that only God can give. Peace is unfolding even now, not because you've figured things out, but because God is near to the brokenhearted, and He delights in drawing close to those who need Him most. Tonight, stop chasing peace. Instead, receive it, like a child curled up beside a father who never sleeps. You may not feel peace instantly, but peace is already working, already moving, already present. You are in the presence of the one who is peace. He is not demanding clarity, He is offering comfort. Let Psalm 23 speak over your heart. He restoreth my soul. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Even when your enemy is fear, God lays out a feast of comfort. So breathe, stay, be still. You are not abandoned in this storm. You are being loved through it. Let this be your act of trust tonight, to stop striving and start receiving, to stop resisting and start resting, to believe that the darkness doesn't win just because it's present, because God has already lit a candle within you and it will not be extinguished. Not tonight, not ever. What would it look like to stop resisting your anxiety and start receiving God's presence in it? Where in your life is God inviting you to sit at His table of peace tonight? How can you begin trusting that God is actively working in your restless places? Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night. Psalm 91:5. Thou preparest a table before me. Psalm 23:5. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give unto you. John 14:27. Before sleep tonight, take 1 full minute to breathe slowly and repeat, I don't have to be calm to be loved. God is with me now. Let this be your bedtime prayer. Let His presence become your peace. The weight doesn't always lift when you close your eyes. For many, the dark invites a quiet chaos, a swirl of thoughts that refuse to settle. You lie still, but your mind replays every conversation, reconsiders every decision, reimagines every outcome. It's not that you don't want peace, it's that peace feels distant, too holy for someone whose heart is pounding and whose thoughts are screaming. But Psalm 91:5 gently reminds you, Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night. That's not a command, it's a promise. God is not unfamiliar with the dark. He's not disappointed that you can't just let it go. He is near, even here, especially here, when anxiety camps beside your bed. His promises don't speak over the noise of your fear, they speak through it. He does not demand your stillness before He approaches. He steps into your restlessness. And right now, tonight, in your sleepless searching, He's already present, not watching from afar, but surrounding you with a love that does not retreat in the face of fear. God doesn't wait for the storm in your chest to calm before He draws close. He steps into it, covering you with His feathers. An image not of poetic distance, but present protection. Under His wings you find refuge. These wings are not symbols, they are shelter. They wrap around your soul when your body won't rest, when your breathing shortens, when your courage thins. You are not asked to be brave, you are invited to be held. You don't have to pretend you're okay. You are welcomed to be exactly as you are. The sleeplessness you dread may become sacred if it draws you into the nearness of God. He is not waiting on the other side of peace. He is your peace, even now. The fear may still hum, the questions may still rise, but they do not scare Him. He remains quiet, strong, and steady tonight, this moment. With all the tension still alive in your chest, you are not disqualified from divine peace. Philippians 4 promises the peace that passeth all understanding, not the peace that follows resolution, but the peace that stands in defiance of the chaos. It doesn't wait for the morning. It's here in the darkness. God hears the weary sighs you release when no one else is listening, and He answers not always by silencing the storm, but by anchoring you within it. His invitation is not calm down, but come closer. Psalm 23 doesn't promise the absence of valleys, it promises God's presence within them. And in the middle of your unrest, you are not alone. You are walking with the shepherd who knows every shadow and who never leaves. Let yourself exhale. You're not failing because you feel afraid. You're not broken beyond grace because you feel worn and undone. You are exactly where mercy meets need. God's whisper tonight is gentle and unwavering. Be still, I'm here. Let that truth settle in deeper than the fear. Let the pain exist but not define you. Let the worry come but not consume you. You are allowed to rest even when life feels unresolved. Because God doesn't just give sleep, He gives Himself. He lies down beside you in the fear, offering not pressure to perform but presence to receive. You are not behind, you are held. You are not forgotten, you are known. This night, God doesn't demand answers from you. He offers His nearness as the answer, and that is enough. How would it change your experience of anxiety to know God is not outside of it, but inside it with you? What fear tonight is God calling you to face, not with strength, but with surrender? Can you allow yourself to be comforted without having all the answers? He shall cover thee with His feathers. Psalm 91:4. Peace, not as the world giveth. John 14:27. Thou art with me. Psalm 23:4. Tonight, whisper this prayer aloud as you lay your head down. God, I'm not okay, but I know You're here. Let that be enough for now. Don't strive to silence your anxiety. Let God's presence speak louder. This is your night prayer. Let it begin to work peace into your soul. You may be exhausted, but not from work. It's the mental unraveling, the endless loop of what ifs, why now, and what's next. You turn off the lights, but your thoughts stay loud. Every shadow seems to echo your uncertainty. It's not the night that terrifies. It's the silence that magnifies everything you haven't figured out. But beloved, God is not absent in that silence. He is speaking through it. His message isn't buried beneath your panic. It's woven inside it. Psalm 91 reminds us, "Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night." That's not because the terror isn't real. It's because the presence of God is more real. He doesn't minimize your fear, He surrounds it. He doesn't brush aside your pain, He lifts it. You are not being told to push through. You are being invited into a rest that meets you right where the storm still rages. There is no sin in being overwhelmed, no failure in waking up with panic or going to bed with tears. Those very emotions are often the places where your soul becomes tender enough to feel God. He is near to the brokenhearted, not just the calm, not the composed. Psalm 23:5 says, "Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies." Your enemy might be panic, it might be shame, it might be pressure, but the table still stands. And it isn't a table for performance, it's a table of presence. You don't have to clean up to be seated. You simply need to show up. God isn't asking you to be strong, He's asking you to receive. Meditation doesn't mean escaping your reality. It means shifting your eyes to a higher one, a reality where God's nearness is the safest truth you can hold. Now take a moment, just you and God. As your mind races, picture the Father drawing close. Imagine Him kneeling beside your bed, placing His hand over your heart. No judgment, no expectations, just presence, just love. The kind of love that says, "You don't need to be okay to be mine. You're not a burden. You are beloved. You're not failing because your eyes won't close. You're being formed in this very waiting." And God whispers, "This is where I meet you." Not in your perfection, but in your permission. Permission to unravel in my arms. Permission to stop pretending. This is the sacred invitation to stop striving and start receiving, to stop managing the chaos and begin meeting the Comforter in it. Even if it feels like you're spiraling, you're not beyond His reach. What if your racing thoughts are not the end of your peace, but the beginning of your prayer? What if anxiety is not a blockade, but a doorway, a path into deeper dependence, into the kind of surrender that doesn't signal defeat, but wisdom, into worship that doesn't begin with hallelujah, but with sighs too deep for words? Let this night be holy, not because fear disappears, but because you remain present with God through it. Stay with Him, breathe with Him, eat from the table, even with trembling hands. Let tonight be less about finding answers and more about receiving presence. How can you begin to see your anxious thoughts as a cue to connect with God, not a reason to run? What would it look like to sit at the table God prepared, even while your heart is racing? Where do you need to stop striving for peace and start receiving His presence? Thou preparest a table before me. Psalm 23:5. The peace of God shall keep your heart and mind. Philippians 4:7. You will not fear the terror by night. Psalm 91:5. Place your hand over your heart right now and pray. God, I can't control these thoughts, but I give them to you. I receive the peace you've already prepared. Let this be more than a bedtime prayer. Let it be your declaration. You are not alone. God is with you, and His presence is your place of rest. The night feels endless when your thoughts won't quiet down. Your body may be still, but your mind is pacing, restless, like a soul on edge. You've tried to recite verses, to breathe slow, to focus, but anxiety presses in like a heavy fog. Yet what if God isn't waiting for you to be calm before He speaks? What if this very moment, this swirl of noise and exhaustion, is holy ground? Psalm 91 doesn't require stillness to activate its prompt. It says, "He shall cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings shalt thou trust." That trust isn't reserved for your best days. It's offered when you feel most undone. Even when fear is loud, God's covering is louder. He doesn't ask you to edit your thoughts before approaching Him. He simply asks you to come, as you are, tangled, teary, trembling. Love isn't earned, it's received. Peace isn't manufactured, it's given. This moment isn't your disqualification, it's your invitation. Picture it now, a table set just for you, not in a peaceful meadow, but right in front of the fear that taunts you. That's the mystery and mercy of Psalm 23. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Your enemy may be panic, it may be doubt or shame, or the gnawing ache of uncertainty, but the table remains, and it's not a performance, it's a place of presence. What if the very thing haunting you is about to witness your healing? What if pressure doesn't cancel peace, but actually positions you to see it more clearly? Sometimes both sit at the table, one trying to undo you, the other gently remaking you. And in the middle, God whispers, "Don't wait for perfect silence. Sit down now. I'm already here." The lie anxiety tells is this: fix yourself, then invite God in. But the truth of the gospel is this: God steps into the storm before it settles. He doesn't avoid your mess, He moves into it. He walks into your midnight panic and whispers peace, not to erase your emotions, but to carry you through them. His word is not a reprimand, it's a refuge. Philippians 4 doesn't say figure it out. It says stop clutching what God already offered to carry. Lay it down. Let go. Not because you're brave enough, but because He's close enough. This isn't about mastering your mind. It's about surrendering your heart. Even now, with the storm still present, you are not abandoned. You are being held. Tonight, lean back. Let that sacred truth take root in your weary spirit. Let the Holy Spirit meet you right in your distress. Even if your chest feels tight or your thoughts feel relentless, you are not disqualified from peace. You are prepared for it. You don't have to wrestle your way to rest. You only have to whisper, "God, I trust you." Even now, that whisper becomes a doorway. That trust, however small, becomes a home for His peace. And peace may not remove the problem, but it will hold you inside it until the light returns. And it will return. Morning always comes, but tonight, mercy already has. What have you believed about anxiety that might be keeping you from receiving God's peace? Can you identify one fear you've been trying to fix on your own instead of surrendering? How does it feel to know God prepares peace in the presence, not the absence of your fear? He shall cover thee with His feathers. Psalm 91:4. Be careful for nothing. Philippians 4:6. Thou preparest a table before me. 23:5. As you lay in bed tonight, say this aloud: I don't have to be okay to be with God. He's already with me. Let that be your night prayer. You are safe to release, to receive, and to rest. The table is set. Take your seat. Tonight, as the world grows still, another silence rises, one filled not with anxious thoughts, but with unspoken sorrow. Somewhere under this same sky, others lie awake, not from overthinking, but from overwhelming loss. These are not imagined fears. These are real devastations. Crumbled homes, shattered families, childhoods broken by the sound of war. And while your anxiety matters, so now tenderly we lift a prayer together. Lord, we lift to you all who suffer in silence tonight, from war, fear, and destruction. Cover the innocent with your mercy. Bind up the brokenhearted. Let your peace fall where hatred has stolen light. Shine where bombs have fallen. Speak where cries have echoed unheard. You are the God of healing, not of sides. Move in the places where we cannot. Mend what we cannot touch. Make new what we cannot restore. Amen. Amen. This is not a break from your story, it's the expansion of it. Your fear does not disqualify you from compassion, it deepens it. The same ache that brings you to your knees for yourself can bring you to your knees for the world. This is the mystery of the night. As you pray for others, healing returns to you. Psalm 91 says, "He shall deliver thee from the snare." But deliverance isn't always escape. Sometimes it's the holy courage to carry someone else's burden in spirit. Intercession is not weakness, it is power wrapped in prayer. It's what love looks like in the dark. As you sit in your sleeplessness, remember those who grieve far more than rest. And yet, even now, God sees you too. He's not asking you to forget your pain. He's asking you to believe His peace is wide enough for all. The God who holds you in your silent storm is holding them in their loud one. Through your whisper, love crosses oceans. Through your breath, comfort moves. That is the miracle of prayer. It never stays still. It travels, it touches, it heals. How does praying for others in suffering shape your understanding of your own anxiety? What does it mean to you that God is present in every form of pain, both yours and theirs? Are you willing to let your sleeplessness become a sacred offering for someone else tonight? He shall deliver thee from the snare. Psalm 91:3. Blessed are the peacemakers. Matthew 5:9. The Lord is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart. Psalm 34:18. Before you close your eyes, whisper a prayer not just for your own peace, but for someone tonight who may have no light, no home, no name. Let this be your night prayer, a bridge of healing, a holy offering. God's presence is not limited, and neither is your love. You've done everything you can to quiet your mind, turned off the lights, set the phone aside, breathed deeply, and still, anxiety lingers like an unwelcome guest beside your bed. It whispers that you're not doing enough, that something is coming, that sleep is a risk because it means surrendering control. But tonight, hear God's gentle truth. You don't have to conquer your thoughts to be covered by His love. You simply have to sit beside mercy. His arms are not reserved for the fearless. They are wide open for the weary. Psalm 23 says He prepares a table in the valleys surrounded by shadows, not because the danger has disappeared, but because the shepherd is greater than the fear. You are safe not because you're calm, but because He is close. Let that truth be your meditation tonight. Not the spiral of anxious questions, but the steady return to this anchor. He is with me. Say it slowly. Let the words sink deeper than your fear. You're not weak for feeling pressure. You're human, and even more, you're holy, because God has chosen to dwell with you in the very place your chest feels tight and your thoughts feel tangled. You're not disqualified by your shakiness. In fact, it's often the exact place God begins to speak. You may feel like you're unraveling, but He sees you unfolding. You may believe you've fallen short, but God sees your reaching, your longing, your prayer tonight, and He calls it enough. You don't have to silence the storm to access stillness. Stillness isn't the absence of noise, it's the presence of God inside it. Philippians 4 reminds us, be careful for nothing, not because anxiety doesn't come, but because God has already made a way through it. When you bring your requests with thanksgiving, it's not about denying the pain, it's about resisting the lie that you're alone. When you say, thank you God that you're here, even when your heart is racing, you reclaim holy ground. The fear may still murmur, but it no longer holds the final word. You've chosen presence over panic. And that trembling, imperfect trust, that is worship. So now soften, let your breath slow, not because the battle is finished, but because the commander is here. You are not asked to summon strength. You are invited to be still and know. You're not asked to tidy up your emotions. You're invited to rest inside a deeper truth. God's peace isn't a reward for emotional neatness. It's a gift for the anxious heart. That means tonight, with your pulse high and mind and tired, you're in the perfect place to receive it. You don't need to climb out of your fear to find Him. You just need to stay still long enough to feel Him holding you. What anxious thought are you trying to control instead of surrendering to God's presence? What would it feel like to sit beside mercy tonight without needing to fix anything? Can you let God's presence speak louder than your fear? Be careful for nothing, Philippians 4:6. Thou preparest a table before me, Psalm 23:5. He restoreth my soul, Psalm 23:3. Right now, place a hand over your heart and softly say, God, I don't feel calm, but I choose to be close. Sit with me tonight. Let that be your night prayer, not to chase away fear, but to welcome the presence of the one who never leaves. Rest in Him now. He is already resting in you. There's a deep exhaustion that comes from pretending to be okay all day, smiling through anxiety, performing through panic, functioning while your soul quietly frays. And when the night comes, so does the unraveling. The darkness doesn't just cover the room, it reveals the chaos inside. But here is God's message for you tonight. You don't have to be calm to be loved. You don't have to be peaceful to be welcomed. His arms are not reserved for those who have it all together. His table isn't set only for the strong. Psalm 23 says He prepares a table before you in the presence of your enemies, not when they disappear, but while they still linger. That means fear can still exist, but it doesn't get to own your seat. That seat is yours, not because you earned it, but because grace placed it there. Even now, as emotions swirl and thoughts press hard against your peace, God remains unshaken. He doesn't retreat from your unrest, He enters it. That's what real love does. It moves closer. He sees the tension in your chest, the tremble in your hands, the chaos in your mind, and still says, "Come, bring it all." As Pope Leo Caterpillary once said, peace is not escape, it's encounter, and that's what this night can be. Not a hiding from your fear, but an encounter with the God who is not afraid of it. Let that settle into your bones. You are not too much, not too broken, not too far gone. You are His, fully, tenderly, now. Performance-based peace. He is offering performance-based rest. He is offering presence-based rest. You don't need to say the perfect prayer. You don't need eloquent words. You just need to show up. And the truth is you already have. The very act of seeking Him, even from a place of ache, reveals a heart that remembers where home is. And He honors that. He doesn't wait for your thoughts to settle before surrounding you. He surrounds you so your thoughts can begin to settle. Psalm 91 promises, He shall cover thee with His feathers. That covering doesn't wait for stability. It falls upon you now, in this moment of vulnerability and truth. So breathe, not because all is well, but because God is near. You are not facing this night alone. You are seen, you are covered, you are held. The whispers of darkness may still echo, but the voice of your shepherd is louder. And He is saying, "You're mine," even like this. Let that be your permission tonight, not to strive for peace, but to sit in the presence of the one who gives it. Let your soul lay down, not in defeat, but in sacred dependence. This is where healing begins. Where are you still trying to earn peace instead of receiving it as a gift? How does it feel to imagine God drawing closer, not away, when your anxiety rises? What if this moment of weakness is the doorway to a deeper experience of His love? Thou art with me, Psalm 23:4. He shall cover thee with His feathers, Psalm 91:4. Come unto me, and I will give you rest, Matthew 11:28. As you settle into bed, whisper this prayer. God, I'm not peaceful, but I'm present. And I trust that you are too. Let your honesty become your worship. Let your fear lead you not into shame, but into sacred nearness. You are not disqualified. You are deeply loved. Rest now. There's a table set for you tonight, and it's not tucked away in a quiet sanctuary. It's right in the center of your anxiety. Psalm 23 doesn't say God waits for your peace before he prepares the feast. It says, "Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies." And sometimes, those enemies aren't outside you. They're the racing thoughts, the clenched chest, the heavy what-ifs that press against your spirit in the dark. But even then, especially then, God prepares. He doesn't wait for the chaos to end before he begins to serve peace. He places rest and reassurance right in front of everything that threatens your calm. That's not a punishment, that's a miracle. The very fear that tried to own your night must now witness God feeding you grace. You may not feel ready to sit. Your hands may still tremble. Your thoughts may still run. Your heart may still ache for escape. But that's what makes God's invitation so beautiful. It comes not after the storm, but within it. He sets the table while the enemies remain. This peace is not worldly. It doesn't hinge on perfect timing or perfect posture. It simply asks for presence, to sit, to trust, to let your soul receive what your mind can't yet explain. Even now, with your world stirred and emotions swirling, God is feeding you. His presence is the feast, and your shepherd, calm and constant, stands watch over every breath you take tonight. Philippians 4 tells us to bring everything to him with prayer and thanksgiving. Yes, even the dread, the panic, the relentless worry. This isn't about spiritual performance. It's about surrender. And that thanksgiving isn't about pretending it's all okay. It's about choosing to believe God is still here, still close, still covering you. When you whisper, "Thank you for being near," even with tears in your eyes, heaven leans in. That act of faith cracks open the darkness and lets in light. God's message to you tonight isn't try harder. It's you're not forgotten. You're being fed. This table isn't reserved for the strong. It's for the weary, the shaky, the silent, the ones who made it to this moment and wonder if that's enough. It is. So stop striving. Stop rehearsing your worries. Let yourself sit. Let yourself be served not by solutions but by stillness, not by answers but by assurance. The shepherd hasn't walked away. He's attending to you right now. He knows what your heart needs before you do. Peace, presence, love, comfort. It's all here, laid out like a feast in the middle of your unrest. This is the goodness of God. Not that he waits for your world to calm down, but that he comes into the swirl and prepares rest anyway. Let that truth feed your spirit tonight. What fears or pressures feel like enemies tonight, and can you imagine God setting a table in front of them? What would it mean to stop running and simply sit in God's presence? Can you let peace come even before the storm has passed? Thou preparest a table before me. Psalm 23:5. Be careful for nothing. Philippians 4:6. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Psalm 23:1. Tonight, close your eyes and whisper, Lord, I don't have to feel ready. I trust you've already prepared what I need. Let that be your bedtime prayer. Let the table remind you, peace is not the absence of anxiety, it is the presence of God right in the middle of it. You lie down, but your thoughts rise up. One worry leads to another, one memory triggers 5 more. It's as if your mind becomes a maze with no way out. You pray, but the words feel distant. You breathe deeply, but the tension holds tight, and so you stay there, still on the outside, storming on the inside. But what if this isn't a sign you're far from God? What if your racing thoughts are actually your soul reaching for Him? Night prayer isn't reserved for the peaceful. It was made for the restless. It's for the ones who long to sleep but can't, who crave calm but keep spinning. And God's message tonight is not, be quiet, but I'm here. In the noise, even your mental chaos is not too much for Him. It's where He chooses to meet you. Psalm 91 promises deliverance from the terror by night, not always by removing the fear, but by entering into it with you. That includes the kind of fear you can't name, the kind that arrives without warning. You don't need a clear cause to cry out to God, you just need a willing heart. When you whisper help, He draws near. When you have no words, He listens to your sighs. When you're overwhelmed, He surrounds you, not with pressure to feel better, but with presence that anchors you. You may not be able to control your thoughts, but you can hold to a deeper truth. God is not the absence of fear. He is the presence of peace within it. That means even now, in this whirlwind, you are not alone. So what do you do when you can't stop thinking? You stop trying to win the battle in your head, and you let the Word begin to steady your heart. Even if all you can offer is one phrase, "The Lord is my shepherd," let that carry you. Psalm 23 doesn't promise the absence of darkness. It promises the presence of the shepherd within it. God restores your soul not by demanding you pull it together, but by inviting you to rest in the middle of the unraveling. He makes you lie down in green pastures, not because you've earned rest, but because you need it. And tonight, He's laying you down not in discipline, but in divine compassion. August 20th, 3:30 p.m. Restoration. Attack. So stop seeing your thoughts as threats. Begin seeing them as invitations. Each one is a call to return, to pause, to be still. Even if the thoughts don't quiet, your heart can. Even if the tension remains, peace can still begin. It may not come in one breath, but it will come. Peace isn't always sudden, but it's always sure when God is near, and He is near, now, in this room, in your ache, in your next breath. You are not forgotten. You are being met. What would it look like to let your overthinking lead you toward God instead of away from peace? Can you see your anxious thoughts as invitations to pause and sit at God's table? What is one scripture you can hold on to when your mind begins to spiral? He restoreth my soul. Psalm 23:3. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night. Psalm 91:5. I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. When the next anxious thought arises, don't resist it. Redirect it. Whisper, even now God is with me. Let that become the rhythm of your night. Let this night prayer rewrite the script of your mind and replace panic with presence. Rest, beloved. You are held. You've tried everything, music, mantras, oils, pillows, but your mind refuses to yield. It's not just tired, it's tired of being tired. The more you try to calm yourself, the more your thoughts seem to multiply, like they're feeding off your effort. You start to wonder if something is wrong with you. You begin to question your faith. But here is God's whisper to you tonight. You don't need to be fixed to be found. Psalm 23 doesn't say He restores the perfect soul. It simply says He restoreth my soul. Not later, not if you get it together. He restores. Right now, even while your mind spins, even while your hands tremble, even while your chest tightens. Restoration is not a reward for calm. It's a promise in the chaos. And the one who promises is present. Meditation isn't about eliminating your thoughts. It's about choosing which voice you let linger. God's voice doesn't shout to compete. It gently settles under the noise. Peace I leave with you, Jesus says in John 14. Not as the world giveth. The world's peace demands your composure first. God's peace begins with presence. And His presence is already with you. Even now, like in Genesis 1, the Spirit hovers over your chaos, not waiting for you to calm down, but speaking light right into the dark. Your meditation tonight isn't about fixing your mind. It's about receiving His closeness. He doesn't need a silent room to be heard. He only needs your open heart. So breathe. But breathe not just to soothe your body. Breathe as an act of surrender. Inhale, God is here. Exhale, and I am held. Every anxious thought that rises is not a sign of failure. It's a doorway, a cue to turn again to the shepherd. Let those thoughts lead you into a deeper place, where fear becomes a prayer and questions become a quiet cry for connection. You're not being abandoned to your mind, you're being met in it. The shepherd isn't far off waiting for your strength. He's walking toward you now, with compassion, with calm, with rest, not because you found him, but because he always finds his way to you. And when the words won't come, just say his name, whisper it into the night. Jesus, say it until your heart remembers it's not alone. Say it until the chaos begins to quiet. Not because the storm has vanished, but because your soul has found shelter in the one who calms it. You're not broken because you need him. You're beloved because you reach for him. And the God who heals doesn't overlook honesty. He meets it with mercy, always. How would your meditation change if you saw it as a place to receive, not perform? What is one intrusive thought you can hand over to God tonight? Can you allow God's whisper to matter more than your mental noise? He restoreth my soul, Psalm 23:3. Peace I leave with you, John 14:27. The Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters, Genesis 1:2. As you lie down, close your eyes and breathe slowly. On your inhale, God is here. On your exhale, and I am held. Let this rhythm be your meditation. Let this night prayer lead you from exhaustion into sacred stillness. You may not realize it, but every breath you take tonight is a quiet act of courage. When your heart pounds out of rhythm and your thoughts pile into dread, simply remaining still becomes its own kind of battle. But here's what God is whispering into that battlefield. You are not a problem to fix. You are a soul to feed. That's why Psalm 23 doesn't begin with what to do. It begins with who God is. The Lord is my shepherd. Before peace comes, presence does. Before stillness settles in, relationship leads the way. The shepherd never waits for the sheep to find their footing. He gently leads. And tonight, even with tangled emotions and restless thoughts, he is leading you, not with pressure, but with persistent love. You don't have to know how to untangle this. You don't need to make sense of every emotion. You're not asked to fix yourself like a project. You are simply invited to be loved. Psalm 91 doesn't promise a fear-free life. It promises refuge in the middle of it. Not after you've been brave, but the moment you admit you're tired. His feathers cover the trembling, the undone, the quietly desperate. So, if that's where you find yourself tonight, know this. You're not weak for craving comfort. You are wise for reaching for it in God. You are not lost in your need. You are found in his nearness. This is the miracle of night prayer. It does not require eloquence, stability, or serenity. It asks only that you show up with your sighs, with your silence, with the smallest breath of belief. God meets you not at the height of your performance, but at the depth of your surrender. His presence is not earned, it's given. You don't need perfect prayers or polished emotions, just the simple willingness to say, I'm here, God. I trust you to hold what I can't, and he will. He always does. So if the night wakes you again, don't assume something is wrong. Let it be your reminder, God is still with me. Don't fight your thoughts like enemies. Offer them like fragile confessions. He won't reject them. He receives them. And in return, he gives peace, not only to calm your world, but to quiet your soul. This is not the night you spiral. This is the night you are seen, soothed, and slowly restored. In what ways have you tried to fix yourself instead of receiving God's peace? What if your anxious thoughts are not a failure, but a flag signaling it's time to be still with God? What does it mean to let God feed your soul even when you feel emotionally starved? The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Psalm 23:1. He shall cover thee with his feathers. Psalm 91:4. He restoreth my soul. Psalm 23:3. As you lie down, breathe in this promise. God is my shepherd. Breathe out this trust. I shall not want. Let that be your rhythm. Let this night prayer settle in. Let it remind you, peace is not a destination. Peace is the presence of God, and He is here. The day may be over, but the weight in your chest still lingers. You've done what you could, checked off the to-do list, whispered your prayers, dimmed the lights, but sleep remains a distant hope. The fear still circles, the what-ifs still whisper, and in the quiet you ask yourself, why can't I just calm down? But here is God's gentle message tonight. Peace is not earned through perfection. It's received through presence. Psalm 91 doesn't start with control or achievement. It begins with surrender. He that dwelleth in the secret place. It's not about having it all together. It's about being willing to stay with God even when you don't. And tonight, you've stayed. You've shown up. That's enough. You don't have to figure out how to be still. You don't have to earn your way into rest. You simply need to stop running from the one who is already near. Psalm 23 reminds us that stillness is not a destination we reach. It's a place He leads us, and He doesn't expect you to get there on your own. He walks with you, every trembling step, through every shadow of anxiety. He doesn't push, He doesn't shame, He gently guides. Even now, in the middle of your unrest, He's preparing you for peace, not after you calm down, but so you can. This is not about effort. This is about embrace. Let that be your night prayer. I don't have to do anything to be loved. I only need to receive what's already mine. Meditation doesn't start with a blank mind. It starts with a full heart, remembering the truth. God is not waiting for your emotions to cooperate. He's already speaking. You are mine, even like this, especially like this. Your feelings may still swirl. That's okay. Peace is not the absence of those feelings. It's the steady truth that you are loved, held, and free to rest in the presence of a God who never changes. To loosen your shoulders, unclench your jaw. Let your soul exhale. Whisper within, God be near, and know this, He already is. The storm doesn't have to stop for sleep to come. The shepherd does not wait for your tears to dry before leading you. He walks into the sorrow, into the sighs, into the questions, and in the softness of this sacred moment, He leans in and says, lie down now, I've got this. I've got you. What beliefs are keeping you from fully receiving God's peace tonight? How does it change your rest to know God leads you, even when you're anxious? Can you begin to view your anxiety not as disobedience, but as an invitation to draw near? He that dwelleth in the secret place, Psalm 91:1. He leadeth me beside the still waters, Psalm 23:2. Peace I leave with you, John 14:27. Before sleep, place your hand over your heart and say aloud, I am safe, I am loved, God is with me. Let that truth settle in. Let it wrap around you like a blanket. Let this night prayer be your last word, and peace, God's peace, be the last thing you feel. You may feel ashamed of how anxious you still are. You might even think that stronger faith would have brought you peace by now, but that's not how God sees you. He isn't measuring your restlessness. He isn't disappointed in your struggle. He isn't waiting for you to get it together before He draws near. His presence isn't delayed by panic, it's drawn by it. Psalm 23 doesn't say, He restores the strong. It simply says, He restoreth my soul. That means restoration doesn't depend on your ability, It depends on his heart. And tonight, he is stepping into your exhaustion not to critique, but to comfort. His table isn't reserved for the calm. It's laid out in the battle. Even now, in the middle of your mess, he's feeding your soul with grace. You don't have to apologize for being overwhelmed. You're not a disappointment. You're a child, loved, carried, and seen. God never asked you to carry the weight alone. His peace isn't the prize of your performance, it's the overflow of his affection. You don't have to wait for the anxiety to end before God begins to speak. In fact, this may be the moment you hear him clearest. You are mine, not because you are composed, but because you are chosen. He sees every racing thought, every clenched breath, every tear in the dark. And he stays, not because he has to, because he wants to. You can stop striving, you can stop performing. Let this be your sacred unraveling. Let tonight be the place you stop fixing and start receiving. Philippians 4 says to bring everything to God in prayer. That means all of it. The incomplete, the tangled, the unresolved. You don't need the final draft. You just need to show up. And when you do, something happens. The peace of God, beyond understanding, begins to find its way into your soul, slowly, gently, like dew resting on worn-out earth. You don't have to understand it. You only have to let it in. You don't have to be brave to be blessed. You don't have to be composed to be carried. All God asks for is honesty, and that's something you already have. So let go. You're not being tested. You're being tended to. You're not being evaluated. You're being embraced. This is not a night for pressure. This is a night for peace. Let God meet you right where you are, not because you've achieved quiet, but because he brings it with him. Where have you felt the need to apologize for your anxiety? And how is God inviting you to rest instead? Can you let your weakness be a place of worship tonight? What would it mean to believe that God stays, even when you can't sleep? He restoreth my soul. Psalm 23:3. Be careful for nothing. Philippians 4:6. Under his wings shalt thou trust. Psalm 91:4. As you lie in bed tonight, whisper this aloud. I don't need to be perfect to be loved. I am already his. Let that be the quiet truth that tucks you in. Let it cradle your heart as the final prayer of your day. Let it lead you gently into rest. You've made it through another day, and now the silence settles in, not with peace, but with pressure. You wonder if you did enough, if you are enough. The darkness seems to turn up the volume on every insecurity. Thoughts race, doubts echo. Even the scriptures you cherish feel distant. But, beloved, listen again. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give unto you. That's not just a verse in John 14:27. It's your inheritance. This peace isn't something you have to create or earn. It's not fragile. It's freely given. Tonight, in your mental fatigue, in your emotional stretch, Jesus places it into your hands. Whether they're steady or shaking, you're not alone in the tug-of-war between your mind and your faith. That conflict doesn't disqualify you. It makes you human. And Jesus, who calmed storms, didn't scold his disciples for being afraid. He didn't demand faith first. He offered peace first. That same voice is speaking now. Not why can't you trust me, but peace. Be still. Psalm 91 wasn't written for calm seasons. It was written for nights like this. Nights when the mind won't relent and the heart won't quiet. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, not because fear is fake, but because God's nearness is more real. He is not watching from a distance. He is seated beside you, present, steady, unchanging. You don't have to feel worthy to be wrapped in peace. That's what grace means. Even in your anxious spiraling, the invitation remains open. Let not your heart be troubled. You don't need a full understanding. You only need a soft yes. Right now, in the middle of swirling regrets and rising dread, you can choose to whisper, God, I receive. That whisper is your offering. That willingness is your worship. It's not giving up. It's giving in to love, to stillness, to the truth that your shepherd is near. So lie still, not because everything is resolved, but because you are not facing it alone. Stillness isn't the product of perfect conditions. It's the fruit of divine companionship. The same God who calms the sea now speaks gently to your soul. Be still. You are not being forgotten in the dark. You are being held through it. That's what peace looks like. It doesn't always chase away the fear, but it walks you through it with a hand that never lets go. What thought is keeping you from receiving peace as a gift tonight? How might God be asking you to rest before you understand? Can you accept that peace can arrive even when anxiety hasn't yet left? Peace I leave with you. John 14:27. Let not your heart be troubled. John 14:1. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night. Psalm 91:5. Tonight, gently whisper, God, I receive the peace you promised, even while I wait for calm. Let that be your night prayer. Let it steady you. Let it surround your thoughts like a blanket. Peace is not waiting at the end of this storm. It is already here, because He is here. Some nights, it's not fear that keeps you awake. It's shame. Shame for not being stronger. Shame for needing help again. Shame for thinking, shouldn't I be past this by now? But God's message to your heart tonight is this: there is no shame in needing me. Psalm 23 says, Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. That anointing is not a reward for strength, it is a gift in weakness. It's not poured out after victory, it's offered in the valley. You don't need to explain your struggle. You don't need to clean up your anxiety. You are loved now, fully, gently, without condition. God is not frustrated by your tears. He is reaching for you through them. When overthinking turns into self-blame, the enemy whispers his harshest lies. You're a burden. You're broken. You're failing at faith, but God's voice cuts through the noise. I am the one who restores your soul. He's not looking for your perfection. He's drawn to your need. That's why night prayer isn't a ritual of performance. It's a space for presence. Philippians 4 doesn't ask you to present a cleaned-up version of yourself. It says, bring everything. Bring the raw, the messy, the unresolved. Bring the sighs, the silence, the sorrow. And as you do, peace begins to find its way into the places shame tried to claim. Let your mind rest tonight, not because every anxious thought is gone, but because you stopped believing you need to fight them alone. God never expected you to fix yourself. He already knew you'd need Him here. That's why He comes. That's why He stays. He's not asking you to solve your mind. He's asking you to stay close to His. Even in the dark, the shepherd walks beside you. His rod and His staff, they don't just protect, they comfort. They reassure you that you're not navigating this night alone. So if shame has been your companion lately, it's time to let grace interrupt. Let God's mercy finish the sentence your guilt started. You are not too emotional, not too fragile, not too late. You are simply loved, and that love is your permission to rest, to let go, to let healing begin, one sacred breath at a time. Where are you still holding shame instead of receiving God's grace? How does knowing God anoints your head, even in the valley, change your view of rest? Can you allow love, not blame, to speak the final word over your night? Thou anointest my head with oil, Psalm 23:5. The peace of God shall keep your hearts and minds. Philippians 4:7. He restoreth my soul, Psalm 23:3. As you lie down, place your hand over your chest and pray. God, I release the shame. I receive your love. Let that simple act become your anchor. Let it shift the atmosphere of your soul. Peace is not earned. It's given, and it is here now for you. There are nights when nothing is obviously wrong, but nothing feels quite right either. You're not in a panic, you're not in a crisis. And yet, there's a quiet ache, a heaviness you can't quite name. Your body is tired, but your soul feels hollow. You're not crying, but you're not settled. And in these uncertain in-betweens, God often whispers the loudest, "You are still welcome here." Psalm 23 says, "Thou preparest a table before me." That table is not just for the broken or the bold, it's for the blank, the worn out, the emotionally gray. Even when you feel disconnected or numb, your seat is still reserved. We tend to think God only meets us in the extremes, in heartbreak or elation. But the most radical faith can be showing up with nothing, just showing up. You don't have to feel inspired to be in God's presence. You don't have to conjure emotion to be heard. You can sit at the table in silence and still be fed. This night prayer isn't about performance, it's about permission. Permission to be real, to be tired, to be unsure, and still to say, "God, I'm here, I still want you." Psalm 91 doesn't require spiritual fire to activate God's covering. It simply invites you to dwell. "He shall cover thee with his feathers." That's not a promise based on feelings, it's based on his faithfulness. You are still covered, still loved, still pursued. Even when you feel emotionally flat, his spirit is not still. He is moving toward you. He is filling the quiet with grace. He is watering dry places. He is preparing peace, not because you ask perfectly, but because he is good, always. So let this be your night prayer. Not loud, not long, not even eloquent, just honest, just enough. A breath, a pause, a simple whisper. "Even when I feel nothing, you are still everything." Let that be the key that unlocks the door to peace tonight, not because you feel it yet, but because you believe he's near. He is. And that's more than enough. What emotions are missing tonight that you feel guilty for not feeling? And how might God be speaking through that silence? How can you begin to see emotional flatness as a place for God to gently fill? What would it look like to trust that your seat at God's table is still reserved, even when your heart feels distant? "Thou preparest a table before me." Psalm 23:5. "He shall cover thee with his feathers." Psalm 91 verse 4. "Come unto me, all ye that labor." Matthew 11:28. Tonight, place your hand on your chest and whisper, "Even when I feel nothing, you are still everything." Let that be enough. Let that be worship. Let it be your welcome into rest. Some nights, you're not wrestling with fear. You're sinking into feelings you can't quite name. It's not panic. It's not loud. It's a quiet grief, a subtle sadness, a weight you can't define. It might be disappointment. It might be weariness. It might be the ache of something that was supposed to be but isn't. Whatever it is, it surfaces when the world goes quiet, and suddenly rest feels miles away. But hear this, you don't have to hide that sorrow from God. You can bring it just as it is, unspoken, unpolished, to the table he set for you. Psalm 23 says, "He restoreth my soul." That restoration isn't just for the strong, it's for the soul too exhausted to even ask. He sees your ache, he stays near, and he begins healing even now. You don't have to clean up your emotions to be safe with him. They can be messy, they can contradict each other, they can make no sense at all, and God won't flinch. Psalm 91 tells us that under his wings we find trust. Not because we're certain, but because he is. This isn't about presenting the right version of you. This is about being the real you. The tired, the undone, the emotionally vague, the spiritually spent. This is where night prayer meets you, in that holy space where all you can say is, "God, I don't even know what I feel right now." And still he responds, still he surrounds, still he loves. If the tears come, let them, not as a breakdown, but as breakthrough. as the rain that readies the soil. If the tears don't come, let that be okay too. God's comfort isn't measured in emotion, it's rooted in presence. Philippians 4 says, "Bring everything, even the ache without a label, even the sighs without speech." And what he gives in return is peace. Deep, steady, undeserved, unwavering peace. Not because you understood everything, but because you surrendered something. So let tonight be a release, a surrender of needing to name it all. Let your emotions sit in his presence without needing to be explained. He's not keeping score. He's keeping you. You're not too much. You're not too far. You are his. And that is enough for now, for always. What emotion have you been suppressing that God is inviting you to bring into prayer tonight? How does it feel to imagine God sitting with you quietly, without rushing your process? What would it mean to trust that even your unspoken sorrow matters to him? He restoreth my soul. Psalm 23:3. Under his wings shalt thou trust. Psalm 91:4. The peace of God shall keep your hearts. Psalm 91:4. The peace of God shall keep your hearts. Philippians 4:7. Whisper this as you lie still. God, I don't need to name it all. I just need to be near you. Let that be your night prayer. Let it hold space for your ache. Let it welcome peace without needing a reason. You're exhausted, but it's not your body that's tired. It's your heart, the kind of fatigue that sleep doesn't fix, a heaviness that clings to your soul even in the quiet of night. Maybe today asked too much of you. Maybe you carried too many worries, wore too many masks, gave more than you had. And now, as the world slows down, your soul wonders if it's possible to let go. But here is what God says over your weary spirit. You are safe to sleep, even in the chaos. Psalm 91 speaks into the silence. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, not because the terror isn't real, but because God's presence is more real. You're not unraveling, you're being wrapped, held together by hands that do not tremble. Let that truth gently unwind the lie that you must figure everything out before you sleep. You weren't created to carry every burden alone. You weren't built to solve every problem before your head hits the pillow. Psalm 23 reminds us, "Thou preparest a table before me." That means peace isn't a reward for performance. It's a gift given even in the disarray. Even here, when your chest feels heavy and your thoughts tangled, God has set the table. He isn't waiting for your breathing to slow before he draws near. He's already here, waiting not impatiently but lovingly. He's staying, steady, constant, the calm that meets you before calm arrives. And yes, your instinct may be to scroll, to distract, to escape, to delay sleep in hopes that it finds you instead. But what if you stayed right here? What if this moment became the place of surrender? Not grand or poetic, just honest. Just you and God. Just a breath and a whisper. I'm here, Lord. I'm tired. Please be near. That is enough. That is trust. That is the prayer that starts healing. Philippians 4 offers peace that doesn't need to make sense. Peace that doesn't wait for answers. Peace that arrives while the storm still lingers. This means you don't need to give anything more tonight. You don't need to fix or prove or push. The shepherd isn't asking for strength. He's asking for you, just as you are. That's the beauty of grace. It meets the tired, the frayed, the undone, and calls them beloved. What are you still trying to carry into sleep that God is inviting you to release? Can you begin to believe that God prepares peace even when you don't feel prepared for it? What would it feel like to fall asleep knowing you're already held? Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night. Psalm 91:5. He restoreth my soul. Psalm 23:3. The peace of God shall keep your hearts and minds. The peace of God shall keep your hearts and minds. Philippians 4:7. Before you close your eyes, whisper, God, I give you this day. I trust you with my sleep. I rest in you. Let that prayer lead you not into escape, but into embrace. You are safe. Even now, even here, peace is present. Rest is near. The lights are out, but your mind is still on, buzzing with questions, rewinding regrets, fast-forwarding fears. You're not battling monsters under the bed, you're facing the ones within. And in this moment, anxiety feels louder than hope. But here's the holy truth. God's message today is not fix it, but come as you are. Psalm 23 doesn't say the path must be perfect. It says the shepherd leads. That means even your shaky steps toward rest are being guided. Even when you feel lost in your own thoughts, you are still found in His presence. He is not discouraged by your struggle. He is moved with compassion. He's not waiting for your peace to appear. He is your peace, already present in the middle of the tension. Psalm 91 promises refuge not to the strong, but to the seeking. He shall cover thee with His feathers. Not when you're fearless, but when you're frightened. Not when you're victorious, but when you're vulnerable. His wings don't wait for your strength. They welcome your surrender. You don't need to become someone else to be embraced. You only need to show up with what you have. Your racing heart, your weary sigh, your honest prayer. That is enough. You are enough. Right now, just like this. Your emotional state is not a barrier, it's a bridge. Every feeling, every fear, every flicker of faith becomes the doorway through which God draws near. Let tonight be the moment you stop performing and start resting. There's no spiritual script required, just honesty. Just the quiet confession, I need you, God. That whisper is worship. That reaching is the return. You don't need to explain why you're anxious. You don't need to justify why it's still hard. Grace doesn't ask for reasons. Grace just receives. And tonight, that grace is not a theory. It is a presence. It is a shepherd who prepares a table for you, not beyond the storm, but in it. He's not asking for composure. He's offering communion, and communion means you are not alone, not in your weakness, not in your questions, not in your midnight silence. Even in the dark, even with your thoughts still spinning, there is a chair pulled out just for you. The table is set, not with expectations, but with mercy, not with judgment, but with comfort. Here is bread for the tired. Here is water for the soul. Here is rest. Not because you've earned it, but because He's offered it. You are not an outsider to peace. You are its guest, and your invitation never expires. Let your presence at that table be your prayer tonight. Not fixed, not fearless, not flawless, just here. And that is enough. Let the stillness meet you. Let the Spirit hold you. Let rest come not through your effort, but through your surrender. What fear or regret are you trying to fix that God simply wants you to bring? 2. How does knowing God prepares peace before you feel ready change your approach to rest? 3. What does it mean to truly come as you are into God's presence tonight? He shall cover thee with His feathers. Psalm 91:4. Thou preparest a table before me. Psalm 23:5. Come unto me, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. Take a deep breath and whisper, God, I bring you my unfiltered self. Let this be your night prayer. No more pretending, no more striving, just presence, just peace, just Him. Rest begins here. You've come to the end of the day, but your mind refuses to follow. It's still clinging to conversations, worrying over tomorrow, regretting words spoken or left unsaid. But here, in the quiet of night, God meets you with a final whisper. Let me be the last voice you hear. Not the voice of anxiety, not the inner critic, not the shame, just the shepherd's voice. Gentle, true, steady. Psalm 23 ends with a promise. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. That includes this day, no matter how messy it felt. And it includes this night, no matter how heavy it seems. His mercy has not run out. It's running toward you, even now. You are not left behind by grace. You are being pursued by it, even as your thoughts run ahead. Psalm 91 assures you that he shall give his angels charge over thee. That's not poetic fluff. That's protection. That's presence. While you sleep, God does not. While you toss and turn, heaven stands guard. You are not the keeper of your own soul. God is, and he is faithful. The enemy may have tried to wear you down, to whisper lies into your fatigue, to make you question your worth. But this is the benediction over your night. You are safe, you are seen, you are surrounded, not by pressure, but by peace, not by shame, but by love. Even in the silence, you are not abandoned. You are accompanied by angels and held by everlasting arms. Let your night prayer tonight be one of release, not rehearsal. You don't need to relive the day or pre-live tomorrow. You need only to rest in what's true. God is with you. God is for you. God is enough. Even in the dark, light dwells with him. Even in your uncertainty, his promises remain unshaken. You are not falling asleep alone. You are being wrapped in grace. You don't need to try harder. You need only to rest deeper. Sleep is not the absence of battle. It's the expression of trust. You can't fix the world tonight, but you can place it in the hands of the one who holds all things together. So close your eyes now, not with fear, but with faith. Let this be your benediction, the sacred ending to a soul-wearying day. You are not forgotten. You are not unfinished. You are right where you need to be, in the arms of the one who restores, who keeps, who loves without measure. Your shepherd does not walk away when the day ends. He draws closer. So breathe, release, and surrender. The night is not empty, it is holy, and in it you are held. What voice do you need to let go of tonight so you can hear God's voice last? 2. How does it change your rest to know angels are guarding you while you sleep? 3. What truth from Psalm 23 or 91 do you want to carry into your dreams? Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me. Psalm 23:6. He shall give his angels charge over thee. Psalm 91:11. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in. Psalm 121:8. As you rest, breathe this blessing aloud. God, be the last word I hear tonight, and the first one I hear tomorrow. Let this night prayer settle your soul and carry you into peace. You are covered. You are his. Amen.